face.
Peace, y'all.
Knowledge bone. What's the science, baby?
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying, as I said. Shout out to Big Duke for the intro, man. I really do appreciate that. Normally I make videos, if you notice on my channel, a week in advance. So, but this is one of the topics that's going to come out a week from now. But I decided to talk about it live also. I think next week the topic is the Black Manosphere under attack. So this is the longer version of that. So, like yesterday, I was listening to the Black Authority, and for some odd reasons, ever since Kevin Samuels blew up, people have been taking shots at him. But he also was like, he basically, he's part of the inception of the Black Manosphere, and we saw that recently with Tommy Sotomayor. And sometimes there's infighting within the Black Manosphere, right? Normally it's behind the scenes stuff, so it's not a big deal. And couple that with the fact that you got some of the ladies kind of angling and trying to create a narrative and using guys who aren't in the space. Kind of like when Charleston White was taking a dig, and when Royce the 5'9" made a diss track, and all that was Kevin Samuels. I like Mike Rashid Abdur. I think, I've always liked Mike. I think Mike's a dope guy. But I think he's been, I guess, the next to get thrown into the Black Manosphere mix, right? And I think people internally don't understand how people outside of the Black Manosphere can look at the space. Like, it's an intelligent space. It's in depth. And but winds up, we just get they hate Black women trope, right? And what winds up happening is, this is how people create a war with the space, because you're basically trying to dismiss the brothers in the Black Manosphere by labeling them woman haters. And to label brothers woman haters, now it's one of those things where, okay, guys don't like women, so it transformed to these are the type of guys that are probably abuse women and beat women, and these are the guys who might be deadbeat fathers, and these are the guy that do all of these negative things in the community. And to me, it's kind of one of those things where it's a war on a narrative, you know what I mean? Where the narrative itself is it's intersectionality, that could possibly go into overdrive, because everything about the Black Manosphere people really don't have an issue with. And that's one of the things I addressed in the videos coming out next week, is where you see these guys actually on one side pretty much agree with all of the talking points from relationships to politics. But then in the very next breath, disagree with the manosphere altogether. I just don't like this person. I just don't like those guys. And it's like, you don't have to like the people. You don't have to like a particular guy or girl, if that's the case. But how are you going to attack the talking points how you going to agree with the talking points and then attack the people? So to me, what's happening, Dante? To me, it's a situation where it's a war basically to get to the mainstream first. That's what it looks like to me. You know, like people who um, don't know of the Black Manosphere, man, Coach, man, thanks, man, thank you, fam. I'm always humbled by that type of stuff. You got brothers out here basically giving guys the game on relationships, politics, um, custody, child support, you know, employment, and what y'all doing is y'all trying to marginalize the group because there's other people who are outside of the group, basically calling it a fringe niche, like cult like group, and saying, "Oh, they're kind of crazy, but these are my talking points." Savage, what's happening? You know, so these are what I'm talking about. It's like, no, that's basically what the manosphere has been saying for years now. So the war to me is to get to the mainstream first. And like I put a warning out there in one of the videos that's next week. Brothers, the black manosphere is going to really start to bubble up and start getting more and more out there. Because you notice our material doesn't get shared like that. What's up, Nicer? Like manosphere material doesn't really get shared like that. You know, I don't see that popping up, people sharing it on social media and people's like this person and that person. I don't see that. But what I do see, once again, is the talking points. But what's going to wind up happening is people are going to start going down the quote unquote rabbit hole and finding the people, you know, crew, what's happening? You know, so Bucket, what's up? So what's going to wind up happening is ultimately they're going to start finding some of these brothers in this space, and they're going to start talking to some of these brothers in this space publicly. Kind of like you notice how Dennis, shout out to Dennis Sperling. You know how he was on Fox, and he can post that. You know that type of stuff. You're going to see more Manosphere guys like that. Now, one of the things they're going to try to do is, and brothers got to be observant of this. They're going to try to find the most extreme brothers to act, who they are going to expect to act the most extreme on camera to just level the whole thing. Because to me, it looks like it's definitely, a setup in a war sense. Commander, what's happening? In the sense of I want these people to look like nutcases so we can dismiss everything they say, but use everything they say because what they're saying has such a groundswell, such a grassroots growth. It's really spot on. You know, I appreciate that, fam. I really do appreciate that compliment. You know, you know, but that's the thing. Like, some of the guys can be looked at as man haters. I'm not man haters or woman haters. I'm not about to sit here and say they can't. But and I think people are gonna have a hard time dealing with this is red pill, this and blue pill and purple pill and pink pill and now you're in red pill rage. I think people aren't trying to go down that whole thing and go to each group kind of like when we were having that discussion with the MGTOWs, like nobody's about to try to just figure out what part of MGTOW you're in. I'm a this and I'm a that and I'm a, like, hey, look, listen, what is the group in totality? So I think they're going to paint us with a broad brush in totality, but at some point you got to stay on point because people are going to come to people's pages and say, yeah, that was that video. That was that. Shout out to Kevin once again. Keep doing your thing. You notice how after when World Star put him up with the average at best, people were assuming he was just going to be all online going in on women, and you saw people coming. I saw the clips, and I saw clips, and I saw clips, and by the clips, I think this, and this. So this is how people operate. This is how you're marketed to, right? So then when people actually started going from the clips to watching and hate watching, and then they realize, oh, it's not that. Oh, wait a minute. It's not that. It's actually something real. Red, appreciate you. It's actually this. Cool. So to me, what it looks like is, brother, stay on point with your message. I ain't saying go off. I ain't saying kowtow. I ain't saying pontificate. I'm saying do what you've been doing, and if if you entertaining, stay entertaining. Like, keep doing your thing. Everybody knows how O'Shea doing this thing, and that's lovely. You know what I'm saying? Everybody sees the Fresh and Fit podcast. That's lovely. Here's another thing. Speaking of Fresh and Fit, sometimes we got brothers who are younger than us. I'm over 40, right? So you got brothers like Fresh and Fit, like Stefan, in a sense, AMS. I don't know if AMS can claim to be in the manosphere like that or not, but he's doing his thing. So do your thing. That's not my issue. Like my main man Solo. Like, you got guys who are in their 20s and 30s and who've been in this space for maybe a shorter period of time than people like myself. And we got people trying to validate or invalidate somebody. Like Poor Man's Podcast. I love it. I love it. Mediocre tutorials. I love it. Mediocre tutorial reviews. I love it. And you got sometimes the infighting, black men being brutally down. A shout out to the long live the habitual line steppers. You got brothers, quote unquote, coming up and slowly rising. And you got people like, well, this person's in it and this person's not in it. Listen, this ain't a gatekeeper space for people who are productive. If people are creating content and they're doing their thing, nobody's here to step on people's toes and say, oh, you can't do your thing. Because this is what I mean by other people stepping on the quote unquote manosphere toes. Now, I said in a video that's coming out next week, our space isn't innocent. We've had some people in our space who've definitely stepped on people's toes, definitely offended people, definitely went at people's necks, So I can't just say, okay, if we could dish it, we could take it, basically. But I'm also saying that some of these people ain't really, some of these people that's dishing it to us, they're the ones taking the first shots. They're the ones playing these subliminal games and tiptoeing around it because they're trying to say one thing or another. So to me, it makes the space look like it's under attack. Because now, what are we talking about mostly? We talking about brothers progressing in life. And another reason why I'm saying under attack is because if I go with the relationship part, is there a war against the black manosphere because of black men's perspectives on relationships? I think so. I absolutely think so. And the funny part about it is, if you really pay attention to it, what's up, Dion? If you really, really pay attention to it, you'll notice that people are upset at this space because basically this space is giving black women the advice that black women wouldn't give black women, and that black men who were really getting over on black women, they're more upset about that. Like, look, man, y'all can't tell them this, that, and the third. Y'all can't tell them these men gonna do this, that, and the third. Y'all can't tell them, after you go be out in the street so long, these guys you looking for ain't gonna be there. Y'all can't tell them that because you sold these women a dream, and now these guys are killing the dream. Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. See, this is the only black space I can think of on the internet. And I may be wrong, and y'all let me know if I'm wrong, but this is the only black space who've had multiple hit lists against the people who create content in it. They tried to cancel this space before cancel culture existed multiple times. So all I see is what I saw some years ago where people are just tiptoeing around taking shots, tiptoeing around taking shots. And I've seen this for years. I brought it up, like I said in the videos coming out in the future. There was a few years back, Obsidian was having a little spat online with the sister Sophia Nelson. Now that was going on, they were going online back and forth, back and forth. So I happened to be driving to the gym, I believe, like in the morning, like a Saturday, Sunday morning type thing. And who do I hear on the radio in Houston? It's 102.1. Years ago, like 2, 3, 4 years ago, Sophia Nelson. And what did Sophia Nelson say on the radio? There are these guys on the internet that they hate black women and they bash black women and they don't want black women. Like she just went in on that part. You know, RG, thanks, man. Exactly. So what wound up happening was even by happenstance, I ran into that then and I was like, oh, this is not necessarily, this is something that I got to pay attention to because basically what you're saying is the before the black men in the black manosphere get to the mainstream, you're already going to put them in a negative spot in the mainstream. Same thing with when what is that? DJ Envy was talking about Kevin Samuels on the Breakfast Club. Oh, I saw him trying to. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. The guy's starting to blow up. You marginalize him by basically saying he's some type of broke panhandler trying to hustle people at a luxury store. I get it. I get it. I get it. And the issue, like, let me just take it a little further. Even if that were true, the issue would actually be the Breakfast Club is a hip hop show. So what you're telling me is most of the artists say they were selling drugs before they blew up. And they were, stealing cars and breaking in homes. And they were on their way to catch life sentences. And then they started making music. And then that changed their life around. So what you're telling me is you cool if a criminal, quote unquote, changes his life around. But this, not so much. So that's why I say it's kind of under attack. So this is what's going on over and over and over. So to me, definitely under attack. There's definitely war on us, basically. This is a sense where, and I appreciate one of the things Mike Rashid said when he was with Melissa Ford. He was like, he thinks the logic is dope. He just thinks there's some guys because of the comment section that definitely hate women. And I definitely can agree with him on that. Sometimes in the comment sections, guys are just, you're like, bro, you need to chill out. You need to really chill out. We do have some keyboard warriors in the space, but we also have trolls that do that purposely to make the space look a certain way. And that's another aspect of this that's we don't talk about, I guess, enough. Is there people who know of this space, and just like we say, after a while we had to quantify or qualify if the trolls were black women or were they not, or were they black people in general, because we would get a lot of trolls in this space that we haven't seen these names, we haven't seen these avatars, we haven't seen these people messaging. We're looking like, I don't know you, I don't know, and what you writing, it doesn't sound like you don't sound like you even in our ethnic group. You know what I'm saying? So you got that. You got people typing up crazy stuff and hitting send, and it makes us look crazy because that's the group. But because they're assumed to be in a group when they're straight troll, doing that on purpose. You know, as a content creator, I'm not a. You know how many years I've had to. I don't block messages. I don't block people. You get what I'm saying? I don't block people from messaging. But I can tell you how many times I've had to go to YouTube holding comments and to review a comment that's been held back and I didn't even know. So now I got to make it a regular thing every few days to check comments that are under review. You know, I got you. I got what you're saying. So now I got to do that. But along the way, there's like these quote unquote bots, and they're not just in the Black Manosphere. I saw them abroad where they have these little like sexual site type link things that they send. And for months and months, I've been having to personally, you know, mute those type of messages from my channel. So it's crazy, but people come into the space to make us look a certain way. Come into the space to make us look a certain way. And I don't have a problem representing the Black Manosphere because I think it's absolutely dope. It's a space that brothers needed. Just like when brothers ask for balance. Bucket, man, thanks. You know, I feel you on that, Red. You know, so now we're at this space where okay, okay, because we're looking at a lot of this stuff has evidence, and when people talk about anecdotal evidence, I think the Black Manosphere has a thing, and you know if you want to credit Tommy Sotomayor for that, I definitely understand it. I definitely could say, yeah, he pioneered that. He pioneered probably posting up the news stories and the Facebook videos and the World Star videos online. So I remember TNN News. I remember that. And you know, I think he definitely did that. So what winds up happening is when people think about anecdotal evidence, you're starting to see anecdotal evidence, but it's actually, you know, evidence of this is how people act. In the same way you can pick up a camera phone and you view, you know, non-black people doing their racist thing, you know, you view that way. I definitely understand that, Booker T. I can agree with that also. I can agree with that also. I'm just on this topic today. You know, so this is the issue to me that keeps going on over, 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 and over again. So what winds up happening is you want to make the men look bad. You know, see, no, nobody's jumping Boyce Watkins, but Boyce does it too, though. But I don't think Boyce Watkins does it like just Black Manosphere type thing. I think Boyce just does that. I remember him and Umar Johnson getting into it years ago, and him acting like he don't know why they got into it when he kept taking shots at the man, and was acting like he didn't. Like he's been doing that for years, and you know, he wouldn't directly dish you, he'd indirectly dish you and act like I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember that. It's that. So that's an issue. You know what I'm saying? That's a big, big issue. And then, you know, you also got the dynamic of how can I put this? I got to bring up the ladies for sure, but you got the dynamic of the ladies who don't want to live with the consequences of their decisions when they were in their 20s and possibly early to mid 30s, and now they're on the, you know, maybe in their mid or late 30s and up. And what they're doing is they're trying to spin the narrative because they don't want people to look at them sideways by some of the things this space is saying about how, you know, you did your Freaknik, you did your, you know, I'm dating all the ballers, I'm dating the D boys, you did your, I got pregnant by the guy I wanted to get pregnant by. David was popping, you know. Enough said, you know. So that's a problem. It's definitely a problem. So you got the ladies who like, look, man, I don't want y'all to know why I wound up by myself. And this is why you gotta really, really give kudos and tip your hat and salute Kevin Samuels, because what he's doing, he's not, I don't think he set out to do it that way also. Man, thanks, Dave. Thank you. And I really don't think he set out to do it that way. But he's on a stream. He goes live. Ladies call in. You know, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on YouTube, Zoom, whatever that is. Whatever, they call in and you see them, and they don't see that they have a problem. And some of them are older and some of them are younger, and you start seeing the sprinkles of the women go, okay, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. And then women like, we don't act like that. And then it's like, no, you do. And then you see another and another and another and another and another, you know. I hear you, Notorious. What's up, Ed? You know, you know, salute to you, fam. Salute to you. Like, you wind up seeing this over and over and over and over and over again. So now you see these ladies are like, look, we gotta make these guys look crazy. Because if we don't, they gonna make us look crazy. That's basically what's going on. Because when you're looking at the ladies in their 50s and 40s, and you can use them as celebrities or you can use the ones in your own family. Torrance was popping, and your friends, and you go, oh, you had your opportunity to be with this guy or that guy. This guy really loved you. This guy wanted to marry you. This guy you put on ice for 10 years. This guy you put on ice for 2 years. This guy moved on, got married, and you had your heart broke because you thought he was going to always be there. This guy you put in the friend zone, and now friend zone got fine on you, and now you ain't as fine as you used to be, and now you're desperate. You get what I'm saying? And when guys put that out there, it's like, and then you see the younger women like, wait a minute, that I'm not finna do that. I'm not finna do that. I am not finna go down that route. I hear you, Matrix. But like my little cousin is actually getting married next week. You know, because and she was a little firecracker. She was sassy as I don't know what in her teens and early 20s when she was in college. But she was like, look, I don't wanna take that attitude and I never get a man like that. I don't want to be alone. She took that and she was like, nah, I get that attitude is gonna leave you by yourself. So, I've seen younger ladies go, that's not what it is. Rob, what's happening? Computer geek, what's good? So now we're at that point. Now we're at that point where it's like, who you gonna attack for this? Because the stigma has always been, always is too big of a word, but the stigma has always been the men aren't ish. The men have been liars, cheaters, deceivers, heartbreakers. Well, I forgot that song. But we've always been the bad guy. We've always been the one making the bad decision and breaking up the family and using and abusing women. We've always been, the guys who couldn't just keep it together and keep it faithful. It was always mama's baby, daddy's maybe, because maybe daddy, was wrong by excuse me, by mama cheating. It was daddy's fault that mama cheated, and they don't know who the baby was. It was daddy's fault because of whatever he did. And we're starting to see through time that no, it's not. That's not the case. That's really not the case. Because what the case is brothers have been blamed for what we have done, and we've been blamed for what we haven't done. So, is the space under attack because of that? I think so. Because now you're looking at guys who are family men, and they say, "Look, I'm not into that." You got guys who are, how can I say, who are just, businessmen. I'm not into that. Guys who've been married and divorced, and like, nah, that's not what it is. Guys who are single and who don't deal with all the shenanigans. That's not what it is. Guys who've been uh, drugged through the ringer in the court system. Go, I'm not having it. This is what you need to do to get away from that. So now it's like, uh, because like I know rant you keep, y'all was bringing up Boyce earlier, Boyce Watkins. I saw Boyce Watkins on a video earlier he was talking about masculinity and how a man should treat a woman. And he talked about he learned from how to treat a woman from his dad. And that's why he's able to treat a woman the way he does. And I was like, and in my mind, I was thinking to myself, if I remember you talking down about your dad, talking. I remember the person who was the stand up person in your life who was the greatest inspiration was his grandmother who taught him about money, then his mom, and then his dad. He didn't hold his dad in reverence the years that I had seen him talk about. But all of a sudden now, I guess the reason why I know how to treat a lady is because I was around my dad and he was masculine and he's just, it's like, hey, this is where we at with it. You know, absolutely, absolutely. I was stating somewhat of the same thing earlier. Step your game up and at the same time, watch what happens. Watch what people are going to try to use you for. Because they're going to try to, I'm telling you, they're going to try to use this space as a black men are crazy space. But I don't think it's going to be possible. I actually think it's going to backfire. I really do, because I think there's so many guys in here who are just too smart to hold down. Too smart to hold down. Far too smart to hold down. You know. So the same thing that goes on talking about the political aspect. Is there a war on the black manosphere? Because a lot of the guys look at it from a more conservative way. And not even saying most of the guys in this space are Republicans, because I'm not sure what everybody is. But I can definitely say the space is more conservative, you know, than anything. And I think that, for some odd reason, is anti-Black America at this particular point. Darren, we're gonna sanitize Playboy. You know, absolutely. That's what I was talking about earlier. Edward. The audience got to get on code and not make us look crazy. You know, I'm a red pill race on my type. They all need to die. Like, yo, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. you know, independent. Appreciate you that, brother. Because this is what's going on. Like the political aspect is like, I think, and though people don't want to say this, I think the Black Manosphere is definitely conservative. We're not as far as say Brandon Tatum or Candace Owens. We're a little closer to ABL than some people would want to admit. Just not on that. When white people do it, they got an excuse part. That part, we're not on that at all. But because of the political climate, it's like, what are these? You black men? Did you vote for Trump? Did you like Republicans? You must hate black people. It's like, no, we don't. Actually, we very much so love black people. We just don't love that there's no black agenda in the Democratic Party. Are we saying that there's a black agenda in the Republican Party? No, that's not what we're saying. We saying play both these sides against each other like everybody else. You know, that's there's white people on the Democratic and Republican side. There's Asian people on the Democratic and Republican side. There's Hispanic people on the Democratic and Republican side. You know, so why aren't there black people on the Democratic and Republican side? Makes no sense. But and people start putting on blast that all of these agendas have an issue. People are upset that black men have an issue with Black Lives Matter for a valid reason. And this is why I say the space is going to wind up, it's going to continue to grow. And Edward, you know what? Hold up, Playboy. Hold up. If you still there, homie. Wait. I know you could. I know I could invite you somehow. I know. I done forgot how to do this. There we go. All right, all right. Hold up. Let me see if I can do this comment part right. Playboy cousin. Because basically, at the end of the day, we're playing around, and it's one of those scenarios where, God dog it. There we go. I don't know why, but this joint will not let me post a link in the chat. Whatever I did today, I messed it up. So I'll get y'all another day. It is what it is. Ultimately, though, let me see. Let me see if I can do it again. Ultimately, what's going to wind up happening is basically we're going to be in a space where you can not just be a free thinker, but you can also be a free individual as far as you can have your opinions and live with them and run with them, just like everybody else. Because I think that's also an issue. You know, I think that's also a bigger issue of quote unquote this space. Yeah, you see, yeah, it's tripping on me right now. But we under attack as far as that part. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because all of a sudden we have an opinion, and our opinion bothers people. Like, let me just keep it a buck. Even the black community hasn't heard the perspective of the black man because brothers just we didn't have time to talk about it. You know, we didn't have the time to talk about it. And a lot of people don't realize this. And I want to bring it up in one of the videos coming out later. Is um, a lot of times black men who are on point and who did their job, they rarely took credit. They rarely said, "Look, I did this. I took the family from this level to that level. I did this." They were the quintessential quarterback in the sense of these brothers would go, you know what? I couldn't have made it this far without my wife. My kid could have did is a special kid. They could have did this under all circumstances because I believe in them. I believe that they're that great. And those people, ran with it. It was like, yeah, I ain't need him. I ain't need him. I was good without him. Cause the dads never said and the granddads never said, listen, man, you know, at the end of the day, I'm here providing the whole foundation, and the environment for you to actually shine out here. And I'm keeping myself a little dirty, dusty, and grungy so you could be fresh out here. You know, that's what we own out here. So what winds up happening is now you're hearing brothers say, you know what? My dad died, my granddad died without getting credit. My dad may have died without getting credit. I'm not about to die without getting my credit. You're not finna do me like that. That's not what's finna happen. I see how you getting down now. I see how the culture has shifted so far that when you do the right thing, you don't get credit. Like shout out to I heard they made Juneteenth a federal holiday. I appreciate that, JP. I got you. But also the flip side about that, I gotta say it to be honest. We made Juneteenth a holiday, a federal holiday, but we still can't get a hate bill passed. We still can't get a hate bill passed. What's the big problem with that? See, politically, that's a problem. You can get the country to get a day off, but you can't get a bill passed to prosecute people who do things, hateful things based on race, because basically too many people are doing it. And too many people will go to jail for doing it based on race. And this is the type of thing that brothers talk about. This has always been, part of the conversation. So now it's like KDR was popping. So now we're talking about a space of men who's like, listen, I'm not even trying to hear it. I don't even, I'm not finna fall for the banana in the tailpipe. I'm not about to fall for the symbolism. I'm not about to fall for the coalitions. I'm not about to fall for if we got to fight for everybody that don't fight for us. You got men talking like, listen, nah, not finna do it. Not finna. But what about our struggle? It's just like your struggle. No, it's not. No, it's not. Marty was good. No, it's not. The guys are on that point, even with the ladies, where it's like, brothers are under attack because brothers are pushing back on the idea that, you know, black men and black women are black, but we don't have the same experience in America. But like one of the underlying issues, I will say, you know, how can I put this? One of the underlying issues that I'll say about this is, and I've seen it for years, where you get black men and black women in a room, and everybody, black men and black women, can point to black men and say, you did this and you did that, and then you black men, you were doing this, and you black men did this, and this is why we are, because you black men haven't done this, and you black men didn't do this, and you black men didn't do that. And then there's a pause. And then when people go, now sisters, you haven't did this, you haven't did, wait. We all have made mistakes. It goes from, black men failures to all black failures when it's time for black women, right? And guys are like, nah, we're not doing that no more. We're not doing that no more. If you was a bad parent, if you was a primary breadwinner, cool, Dana, cool. I appreciate you. I'm sorry about that, Suge. I'm sorry. I got caught up. Next week I'm going to New Orleans, so if it's this weekend, cool. If it's next weekend, probably ain't gonna be able to make it, so I'll make it the week after that. If that's cool with you. I'm just saying it on while you're here. But now we're at that point where the guys are like, listen, man, what's my fault is my fault. What's your fault is your fault. It ain't our fault. You know what I'm saying? If I bought the groceries, I bought the groceries. If you bought the groceries, you bought the groceries. If I dropped them, I dropped them. If you dropped them, you dropped them. It ain't I buy the groceries and we bought it, and you drop them and we dropped them. No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that no more, because it doesn't help the community. And the other thing about earlier, when I was talking about how I think the space is at war because people outside want to actually take the talking points that we use for themselves. I'm not saying people haven't had similar talking points, but I'm not about to sit here and say that, oh, everything that these brothers have been talking about, somehow brothers who are not in the black manosphere have been talking about them, because the truth be told, a lot of black people, black men, and black women have been afraid to talk about all of these topics that seem to just should be regular topics. They've been taboo, basically, because us as a community, we've been tiptoeing around, not stepping on people's feelings and stepping on eggshells when it comes to things that hurt our community and our people for years. For years. I know, you go to church. The church don't want to say certain things because I don't want to step on people's toes. You get to the politics. The politicians don't want to say anything. I don't want to step on people's toes. You get the quote unquote leaders. I don't want to step on people's toes. You get the faces and the intellectuals of the community. I don't want to step on people's toes. It's like, oh, okay. So now we're gonna have to step on some toes because my feet hurt. My toes was fine until y'all stepped on them all the time. I got bunions, I got corns. You know what I'm saying? I can't fix it now. You got to go to work on L.A.R. feet like Myra on Martin. You need to saw them suckers down. what I'm saying? You need to grind them down. It's like, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. So now we're at that point. We're at that point. You know, right. So now, brothers, the other thing about is the manosphere under attack. Here's the interesting thing about it to me, about the manosphere getting at war, or people trying to wage war on the manosphere. It's funny how, one of the statements for the last few years was, you need to stay in your lane. It's funny how people don't stay in their lane and they come to our lane. You see what I'm saying? They come to our lane and just they park like, oh, I could say whatever, I could do whatever, I could take this over, and they got people in the space who even try that, because somebody might have a different lane than another person, and they might, what, I like your lane, I'm gonna take it. No, bro, this is a space where people gonna make you stay in your lane. If this ain't your lane, don't come over here trying to bogart somebody else's lane, because you're gonna get a response. You know, exactly, Brandon. And thanks, fam. Like, this is where we at. Y'all want people to stay in their lane, you gonna stay in yours too. And that's part where I think the manosphere has people have an issue with the manosphere in particular, because guess what? When it came to black men, you somehow you were supposed to just be able to just hop in a brother lane. Like, it's okay, we cool, we fam. It's, you black, I'm black. I'm this type of black, you that type of black. I'm a good guy. You a good guy. You know what? I feel like you getting it in over here. You getting it good over here. So I'm gonna just slide on here and try to take this. Take this credit for myself. Mm-mm, mm-mm. We're not playing that. We're not playing that. If I'm over here, you know, doing a plant-based diet, and you over there doing a carnivore diet, you a meatitarian, you know, when you realize that meat making you sick and you want to come over to the plant-based stuff, cool. But you're not finna bring your carnivore stuff to my plant-based stuff. I'm like, I'm just gonna be here and I'm gonna mix it in here because we all good. That's my lane, but I see your lane, but I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna just merge this into your lane just because I feel like it. Ain't finna happen. Ain't finna happen. Because basically what this space is doing is making people live in their lane, just like we're gonna have to live in ours. The black manosphere, you notice guys don't really, we understand the space we in, we live in it. We don't go out trying to, and that's where some of the commenters, I gotta say, that might be part of the problem. Sometimes the people in the content creators don't go to other people's spaces like, you need to be more red pill. But some people in the comment section, y'all do that. Y'all do it. Well, you should have. Then nobody asked them. They didn't ask you for your advice. Don't go in their lane and bring red pill to their lane. Don't do that. Don't do that, because it's annoying when they bring their stuff to our lane and you guys are this and you guys are that. Nobody, bro, hold up. I get the opinion, but I don't get the unsolicited disrespect though. I just don't. You know, and don't be surprised when you get a response for the unsolicited disrespect. Like the who hurt you mantra. Okay. People have a response, a visceral response to being hurt. You know, people have a visceral response to being hurt. But all of a sudden, if a guy came from a place of I've been hurt, basically what you're saying is everybody else in America can have a visceral response to being hurt and disrespected and offended and used and abused or whatever you want to call it. But if we do it, it's a problem. So it ain't no fun until the rabbit got the gun goes for everybody else but us. Karma goes for everybody else but us. That's a problem. That's a big, big problem. So you wind up, people wind up attacking us, you know, going to war with the space, and really going to war with the idea of protecting black women and protecting the black community unnecessarily. Like, it's funny how, and this is part of the issue, it's funny how one of the things that they say in this space is you got to pay attention and you got to listen. Don't let somebody drag you into a confrontation that didn't exist. You see it all the time where, and brothers, whether they're in this space or outside this space, black men know this in particular. You can get into a conflict with somebody, not because you and them have a problem, but a third party, another person has a problem with you. Bartholomew, what's happening? Another person has a problem, so they created a beef. You know what they said about you. You know what they was doing. You know how they did it. You know that they talking about you. You know how they disrespected you. You know this. You know what you should do. You should go over there. I mean, because I wouldn't let it happen. If it was me, I wouldn't stand for it. You understand what I'm saying? I'd go in there. I shoot the whole place up. You got people lying. Oh, they went over there and they beat me up, and they beat me with a pool stick and a bag of stale Cracker Jacks. And I don't know what happened when I got over here. They didn't tell you the part about the fight that they picked. They picked the fight they lost. So now you hop in your car, you call up your friends, you go to war with somebody. And now that the war is over, you might have won, you might have lost. But when it's over, then you find out, wait a minute, what? So they didn't say that? They didn't do that? So you mean to tell me I done went all the way over here doing all this stuff and this happened to them or this happened to me because of you? You did, okay, you did this. But it's too late now. Now you created an enemy. You know what I'm saying? Now you just created an enemy for no reason. No reason. And it's like, man, and to see this happen with with grown black men. Some of these black men been in these situations as young boys, teenagers, young men, grown men. And to see them fall for the okey doke the same way online and not taking into consideration, like, yo, this feels very similar to all those times that people gave me a story that wasn't true. But they don't think about it like that. You know, what's up, Eric? They don't think about it like that. And then when brothers start going, look, man, it's this, and this. Oh, all right. All right. I get it now. But you might not be able to be cool at that particular point. Because like, bro, I don't know what else somebody else could tell you, and then you jump off the porch. If you jump off the porch because it's you, I dig it. But if you jump off the porch because of them, I don't know, you're too old for that. You know, that's where it becomes a little bit of a, yeah. And then guys can't take it back. And then guys go, and a lot of times, the funny part about the pride is a lot of guys outside this space can't say they was wrong. Let me tell you, this is why I really rock, like, I really got a profound respect for my man O'Shea. Because O'Shea can rock with pretty much anybody, you know. But even if O'Shea go at somebody and they get into it, if a few months go by and he go, you know what, I shouldn't have did that. He'll publicly say he shouldn't have did that. Publicly. And a lot of brothers don't publicly apologize to people. They don't publicly say, you know what, if I felt like that, I shouldn't have did it online. I should have did it. I should have hit them up, emailed them, called them, blah, blah, blah. I should have did it like that. I shouldn't have did that. Because this ain't, that ain't for entertainment purposes. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Bobby, I'm about 55 minutes in. You ain't missed much, Playboy. You know, so it's that. It's that part. And a lot of brothers don't get it. Like, man, at some point, do people, because I've seen so many people come sideways at the space and then sit there. And even the ladies, like even, and this is what I think bothers people, is there's so many women hovering around the black manosphere that y'all know and that y'all don't know. They're hovering around because they're soaking it up like, that is true. That is real. That is what's going on. Uh, but what I'm gonna do about it now? Because there's a lot of sisters hovering around it, and they like, can I get this game and implement it in my life and move on? Because shout out to the feminine sisters, right? Like people like Nicole Michelle, people, you know, they got on her when she came to the manosphere. She had her certain beliefs. The brother said, "Nah, it's not gonna go that way because this, and this." And at the time, she was she didn't like to hear it, but she started to listen enough to understand it. And then she started going, "Okay, ladies, this is gonna work and this not gonna work." And then the lady started going in at her, and well, it ain't work for you. And and as you say, by golly, she was following her own advice and she wound up getting married. So guess what? Guess what? You don't really see her making videos no more. She out there doing her family thing. Salute to her. Guess what? Obviously, she was saying something right. Obviously, she was saying something right. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where the guys know it. The guys know. Some of the ladies know. The ladies are around, and they're realizing something ain't right because I'm getting lied to. Because results don't lie. People out here looking for results. Like shout out to Sub-Zero. You know, he has his IT course. He's got people have gotten jobs and made good money learning, to work in IT from Sub-Zero. That alone says a lot. And there are people who tried to disparage him. You get what I'm saying? But the other people that he had as the students had his back. Like, nah, man, you just didn't do what you were supposed to do. That's what that was about. You didn't do what you were supposed to do because we did our job and it worked. That happens. Shout out to all the brothers online doing trucking, doing construction work. Shout out to the Nick Taylors of the world. Shout out to all them brothers. Because they like, look, man, go get your CDL, go get some loads, go get you a truck, for now, work for a company, learn how to get your own rig at a time, this, that, and the third, you're going to get it together. And even guys who are, the black manosphere, them ain't this. Some of these guys got jobs now from listening to that. And I got to give a shout out to O'Shea because that dude, he dabbles in so many spaces in the internet, it's ridiculous. Shout out to like some people, Amiri Brown did something that helped me help a brother. What he did indirectly, he didn't know this. So I could say it publicly. Amiri was like, he wanted to see some results. So he started basically flipping houses, right? So he put up a house that he bought. He put up what he bought, what it looked like in the beginning. He did a before and after. But he also put up how much he paid for the house, how much the loan was, how much the labor was, how much the interest was by the time he sold it, and how what the profit was at the end of that, like 3-4 months. I wound up running to a young brother, I don't know, 3 months ago, 2-3 months ago, whatever. And he's like, I want to get into this, but I don't know what it is. And I told him verbatim how the thing went down that Amiri put up. He was like, oh, okay, so you got to pay to this. So you get the loan for this. I was like, yeah, you get the house. It's like, it was like a trap house. You refurbished it. The labor might cost about this. Then you get this much money. You pay back the loan, and you pay the interest. You already paid for the labor, when it's over with, bam. And then the rest is profit for you to go to your next endeavor and do it again. And the guy was like, man, all right. Shout out to, because people have a war against the space and they attack the space, but then at the same time they don't go, you know what? These brothers are actually giving me options. Brothers told you to go get a trade. See, the very same people go. If you're slowly but surely hearing more people outside of this space talking about getting a trade. College is expensive. If you fellas get a trade, it's like, where did that come from? Really, it came from this space. If you really want to keep it 100, it came from this space. But people don't want to go for real. Yeah, when Kevin Samuels talking about the blue Henry, the blue collar guy making high figures, he's talking about people like truck drivers, people like plumbers, people like electricians. Guys working for Centerpoint and the energy companies, getting on the light poles, at night when your power go out. Guys helping on the grids, guys doing, paving the roads and all that. That's what we talk. Those are the blue Henry guys you're talking about. The guys that went from making, a certain amount of money to a certain amount of money, and they slowly or fastly transitioned into being their own entity, their own company. Guys who started welding, and then they became a master welder, and now they got a welding company. Like, we don't talk about that. But see, this is what people are attacking in this space. If you could play ball or you could rap, okay, cool. If you go to school and education and get an education and get a degree, okay, cool, but there's debt. But when guys are talking about going to STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, that's where when you graduate, that's where the money's at. Person like me, I got a degree in psychology. Sub-Zero, I know if you're hearing, you be like, that's what I'm talking about, psych degrees. I don't, but the only one thing I can say about myself is I was paying, I figured out when I was younger to pay off my student loans while I was in college. So I graduated with like 2,400 or 3,200 in student loan debt, and I paid that joint off like 8 months after I graduated. You get what I'm saying? That type of stuff. People gonna attack the space, but they're not gonna tell you that type of logic. They're not gonna tell you to be an in-state student instead of an out-of-state student to save your money. They're not gonna tell you that. They tell you that in this space, but we wind up people attacking us and make us look crazy. And we are woman haters, but the other stuff that's behind the quote unquote woman stuff, this is what all the other people want to talk about. The relationship stuff is salacious. It brings the views. It brings art. What's happening? Art been doing this thing for a while. This is exactly how this stuff goes down. Exactly how it goes down. Shout out to Erica Williams also. Because for some odd reason, y'all think we don't, we hate women, but there's women who do gravitate and navigate in this space. Like a Crimson Cure, like a Jessica X, like a breakdown of the woman's perspective, whether you like it or not. That's why we really appreciate Erica Williams. That's when I was talking about Nicole Michelle. She was basically pseudo in this space. Even the women on the outside of this space, who people would consider an enemy to this space. Of course, like the Crystal Caras and the Cynthia G's. If it wasn't for this manosphere, this black manosphere, I don't think they would have material, and I don't think they'll be able. And I could be wrong, but I don't think they'd be able to make a living making videos if it wasn't for the black manosphere, because they shifted to basically be the antithesis to the black manosphere. So, do I think is there a war against us? Absolutely. But I also think there are so many people online and so many people who are, even celebrities are not afraid of this space. I don't think so. Now, even celebrities, some of them don't want to, it may be too controversial for some. Some of it is controversial, but most of it's not. Most of it's not. If you're in this space and you don't know who BGS is, something wrong. You're not in this space. See what I'm saying? You're not in this space. Even when you bring up Angry Man, you're not in this. If you don't know who Angry Man is, you're not in this space. And Angry Man has been talking a lot about politics lately. So, it's a different thing. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of times, shout out to RB the Breakthrough too. You got brothers that's in the sports section that didn't necessarily transition to this sector, but it's like they're technically they're in this sector because by proxy, just like ABL. ABL is a conservative. He's in the political sector, but he would dabble over here because he's a black man. People find value in this space. It's for a reason. What's up, Tony? It's for a reason, a legitimate reason. So what winds up happening is people do have a war against this space. They do. They don't want it to. They don't want it to grow. They don't want it to blow. Because if it does, to be perfectly honest, if this space blows up, you can pretty much say goodnight to a lot of daytime TV catered to women. Because then there's going to be a lot of TV catered to black men, but more so reality-based concepts. Because even when it comes to the political and the news aspect, this space is probably the only, take that back, this space in the black first sector. You know what I'm saying? These are probably the only spaces that can say what black new reporters and newscasters and journalists can't say on air. D-Ski, what's happening? I'm listening. What's popping? Mental, what's going on? This is the only space. This is one of few spaces. I'm sorry, one of few spaces. So to me, you attack this space if you want to, but it's probably gonna work in our favor more than somebody else's, because we've seen this happen over and over and over and over and over again. So for me, that's just my thoughts on this. I've been here like over an hour, so it's time to go get, as one of my best friends would say, get some vittles. I've been running errands all day, so I appreciate y'all for rocking with me this long, man. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. Shout out to Big Duke again for that intro. Peace.